Hello everyone, Fuzzfinger here, and let's continue on with Final Fantasy XIII-2. So today we're going to be collecting some more fragments, some optional fragments, 9 to be precise, so that's all good. And we're going to start off by going to our newly unlocked Bresha Ruins 100 AF.
The sudden appearance and rampant growth of a paradox has turned the Bresha Ruins into a crawling nest of monsters. Even the army, unable to contain the endless waves of creatures, has been forced to withdraw. In a last desperate measure, the government has offered a huge sum of money to the person who resolves the paradox. Many have tried, and many have failed. But still, the ruins overflow with reckless bounty hunters and scholars seeking to claim the substantial reward.
So there's 6 fragments to collect in this new area. But it will also take us to some older areas where we have some other fragments to collect which we couldn't collect previously. And to top it all off, once we've finished up everything in this video, we'll be able to collect some very powerful fragment skills from Serendipity.
Do you even have any experience? For amateurs like yourselves to be coming out here, you either have to be morons or idiots that are looking to hit pay dirt. So, which is it? You don't look like you understand what's going on, so let me explain. Because of some paradox thingamajig that occurred 80-some years ago, the monsters here are multiplying like no one's ever seen. The government gave up trying to fix the problem themselves a while ago. Now they're just throwing buckets of deal with bounty hunters to deal with the problem instead. You can't find any other jobs out there where you can make this much deal. Thanks to the government, everyone here's got cash to spare. If you're looking for some extra pocket money, this is your best bet.
There's no quest to pick up off that guard, but you're welcome to hear what he has to say. For the first quest, we want to go over to this person over here called Pat, with the speech bubble.
Oh, hello. More bounty hunters, I see. You two are much too young to be in a place like this. What a sad world this has become. I'm working on the development of a new weapon. The materials I need can be found where the paradox effect is the strongest, somewhere inside the ruins. If you see anything of the sort, I'd appreciate it if you brought it back to me. Of course, you'll be compensated for your efforts. Alright, the objects you're looking for are likely lost within the space-time rift. I know they won't be easy to find, so make sure to check every hidden corner, every crevice.
Okay, let's go and find those materials. The enemies around here are fairly simple. You can engage the purple Chocobo in the outdoor areas if you didn't collect it in Bresha Ruins 300 AF, which was the snowy version of this place. The purple Chocobo is of course a synergist, and a good synergist too, but it does take some materials to level it up before it becomes useful. Anyway, you want to enter into that first tunnel that I've just come into and follow it all the way around. Those bombs, by the way, that I just encountered have a chance of dropping a Wind Aegis, which gives you complete immunity to lightning spells, although it does take up a capacity 100 of your accessories, so you won't be able to equip anything else with it. And there's the weapon material we need for the quest, but before we hand it in, let's go and do some other stuff to save having to come back. And so you want to head down this tunnel to the side of the one we've just come through. So the one to the west, and straight back out into the open, and then carry on going south until you reach another tunnel, but don't go in it until you've spoken to the person just outside, next to the Chocobo. So it's this person right here, this NPC with the speech bubble, and he will give us our next quest.
Would you be interested in a small job? It's nothing very exciting. I just need you to find someone. My assistant left a while ago, and I haven't seen him since. Can you find him and give him a message for me, if possible? Tell him I need the monster analysis report, ASAP. Spectacular. I knew I could count on you.
Missing assistant isn't too far away, fortunately. If you just head into the tunnel next to the quest giver and follow it all the way around. And you can just see the assistant off in the distance. We'll need to use Mog's advanced Moogle hunt to reveal the person. And he will give us an item which we must then return to the quest giver. So speak to the person, to the NPC.
What? You want the monster analysis report? Oh, my boss must have sent you after me. Here's the report.
Thank you very much. Monster analysis report. Superb. So let's go and pop this back around to the quest giver and get our lovely fragments. And don't worry, I won't forget about the first quest that we're still on. We'll be handing that one in a little bit later. There's still a few more things we can do around here. And I just don't want us to be backtracking over places we don't need to. If we can cut out travel time, that's always a bonus.
Thank you for your hard work. This data should prove to be invaluable in resolving the paradox. The reason this data is so important is because, well, I won't bother you with the technical details. Here's the reward I promised you. It's all there, you have my word.
Now the next quest we're going to be taking is still in the outdoor areas, so don't go into any of the tunnels. And just follow the eastern path. And just keep going to the end of this path and you'll see another person, another NPC with a speech bubble. And that's who you're going to have to talk to for the next quest. And by the way, that little greyed out area which we haven't yet accessed in any of the previous versions because it was blocked off is now available, which means you can finally in this time period achieve 100% for this zone. 100% exploration.
Sociobiology of monsters. By learning how these monsters react to human aggression, the military will be able to formulate more advanced battle strategies. I have my eye on one of the mercenaries in the area as a test subject. He's brash, abrasive, and violent, and he's always ready to fight any monster he encounters. I wonder how differently the monsters would react to him if he became calm, relaxed, and genial. I'd love to get my hands on such data.
Walter wants us to pacify this mercenary thing over here. Now all you have to do is pick the correct live trigger response. You'll have to speak to Raymond 3 times, each time answering a different live trigger. For the first one, you want to choose the left, are you the famous Raymond, or something along those lines. The wording might be a little different because it's random.
Maybe when hell freezes over.
And again, we'll have to speak to Raymond for a second time. And choose that's an extraordinary weapon. It may say that's an amazing weapon, so either one of those will give you the right response. And then speak to Raymond for a third time. And choose I'd love for you to teach me how to fight. Again, the wording may be a little different when you do it, but as long as you ask him to teach you how to fight, that's the right response. And there's the fragments, and we can loot the couple of chests that are in this little part as well. And this one over here shall require Mog's assistance. And on the way out, you're certainly welcome to speak to Walter again, although you already have the fragment for that quest, so it's not urgent, but he gives you a little bit of an update as to the whole speaking to Raymond situation and what that has accomplished.
I analyzed the recorded data from the mercenaries' encounters with various monsters. There doesn't seem to have been any kind of significant change. Continued research of this topic may be useless. Perhaps it's time to scrap the idea and move on to the
Okay, so he's just wasted our time, thank you very much. At least we got a fragment though. Anyway, we need to head all the way back around this area to the Lament Rest area. That distortion, if you engage it, you'll fight a Dontombre enemy, which is very tough. I'm going to do a video about rare enemies later on. We will soon get a fragment skill, which allows us to summon rare enemies a lot more commonly. And I personally will wait until we have that fragment skill before we start farming for rare enemies. Until then, you might just want to run away from them. That was a gate seal I just looted as well, so make sure you get that. And we're going to go and hand in the first quest, so it's all the way back around here to the waypoint. I've already got the purple Chocobo, but I haven't actually encountered one since I've come here, so they are quite rare. Speak to Pat to hand in the quest and collect another fragment.
You've got everything I need. Now I can build a weapon that will destroy even the strongest of monsters. You want to know what I'm going to do with a weapon like that? I'm going to sell it to the government for a serious profit. Here's what I promised you. Thanks again for your hard work.
Are you sure this is the way to solve the paradox?
It's important to investigate all aspects of the case, Kubo. One step at a time, Kubo. One step at a time.
Mog, that's not very convincing coming from you. When's the last time you took a step anywhere?
After the cutscene, just continue to head east, and you'll want to speak to the person on the right for your next quest. This can only be collected once you've handed in the first 3 quests, so don't bother trying before then.
We can't waste our time on the phenomena occurring right in front of us. That's why I've placed a monitoring device on the epitaph. At a glance, it merely looks like an offering or gift of some sort. However, it can measure even the slightest effect the paradox has on an object. Centuries from now, someone will be able to access the data in this device and figure out a way to resolve the paradox. I wish I could be there to witness this event, but unfortunately I'll be long gone. Are you saying you're going to travel to the future to bring me back the data I need? I won't hold my breath.
Quest item is actually located in the 300 AF time version of the Bresha Ruins, so you'll want to return to the Historia Crux and go there for your next destination. I do start to get a little lost around this this Historia Crux now we've unlocked so many places. Ah, there it is.
In the year 20 AM.
As you can see, we still only have 3 out of 4 fragments for this place. That's because we haven't been able to access the final fragment just yet, but very soon we will be able to, so... Anyway, let's first of all get that quest item, and we're going to want to head back to the same place that the quest giver is in the 100 AF version. I'm in the middle of nowhere because I was farming here for the purple Chocobo previously. Okay, so when we reach where we're going over here, we're going to be looking for a small stuffed animal. It can be hard to see, so it's just to the right though, at the very end of this map. Just by this little pillar here, you can see it there. And that's the quest item we need. Before we go back to 100 AF to hand it in, which we can do now if we wanted to, but to save a little bit of time later, we want to head to the room where the Atlas control device was, if you remember from much earlier on in the game. The reason being is we're going to be returning here soon to pick up the last fragment, and that's where we'll need to be. So if we go there now, we'll save that bit of time later. Heading the northern of the 2 tunnels. And then at the intersection you want to go to the right and follow it round, and that will take you all the way into the Atlas control room. Okay, when you reach here you can return to the Historia Crux. And now you can go back to the 100 AF Bresha ruins.
Who will be the one?
And speak to the quest giver to hand in the quest item and collect our fourth fragment.
Is this my monitoring device? I can't believe my eyes. It looks as though it easily contains several centuries worth of data. Was it some kind of paradox effect that brought this back from the future? Now, let's see here. Yes, it appears that the cause of the distortions came from a specific location. If my calculations are correct, then the cause of the paradox should be the control unit of the giant atlas. If I report this to the government, they should have enough data to support a change in strategy. Here's a little something for your trouble. Thank you both so much.
The paradox is occurring because of that one control unit. How did it get powered up again? Is someone messing with it?
Maybe someone turned it on by mistake. Let's check the ruins to see if we can get to the bottom of this.
Okay, so there's 2 more fragments we're going to collect for this, to finish off all 6 fragments for this area, and they're a little bit more complicated than the first 4. This 5th one especially, and it involves us going to different areas of the game in order to complete it. So you want to head to the room that we just went to in Bresha Ruins 300, which is the Atlas control room. Before we do that, I'm just going to pick up some Geishaw Greens from Chocolina, since I don't think I've got any left, or I've only got 1 left. I think 30 will be nice, a nice amount. Then,
until we meet again, Chocobo.
Then you just head into the tunnel to the side of her, and yeah, you know where you're going now. The same as we just did in 300, all the way round. We're going to have a puzzle coming up as well. One of the ones where you have to collect the crystals off the floor, off the tiles. Fortunately, you can just copy my moves, so it shouldn't be too difficult. And speak to this NPC for the... Oh, before you do that, let's just grab this chest over here, which contains another gate seal for this area, in fact, so that we can close Bresha Ruins 100. And now speak to this NPC for the quest.
I've been dispatched by the government. They received a report that the paradox was caused by some control unit. I've come to investigate. However, the unit's locked and inaccessible. 2 passwords are required to unlock the device. An Academy official was in charge of one of them, but he passed away some time ago. As for the other password, I have no clue who would know. I'm pretty much at a dead end. You're saying you want to help me? The man who knew one of the passwords passed away a little while ago. He was assigned to the Padra ruins and the Yashas Massif.
Okay, so we need 2 passwords. Each password that we collect will also give us another fragment. 1 password's located in Bresha Ruins 300 AF, and the other's located in Yashas Massif. And I think we'll go to Yashas Massif first. And you'll want to go to Yashas Massif 100 AF. And you want to go to the command centre, which is in this area that I'm in now. Basically where Hope and Elisa were earlier on, in whatever time version that was. I've lost track of it now, to be honest. There's about 4 different versions, I think, of this place, so... Anyway, up this ramp to the right. And at the top of this ramp, just by the command centre, as I said, there is an NPC. Speak to that NPC for an item and for instructions on what to do next.
This is interesting. If we get our hands on the password of the control unit, we might be able to solve the disturbance within the ruins fairly quickly. It's unfortunate. Mr. Thorne was the only one who knew the password. And now he's disappeared inside the paradox. I don't know if he's dead, but I doubt we'll ever see him again.
So in order to collect the first password, we're going to have to find an NPC called Thorn. He's not in this time period, so you'll want to return to the Historia Crux. Instead, we're now going to be going to Yashas Massif 110 AF in order to find Thorn. And while we're there, we're going to pick up the last fragment as well. So where is it? Oh, there it is. So there's 2 fragments that we're still missing here. One is the password that we're about to get, and another one is an optional fragment for killing a CF boss, which we're also going to do. So we need to go and pick up a quest first of all, and to cut down on travel time, I'm just going to jump on one of these Chocobos. Since I've now got 31 Garshall Greens, I think I can afford to. And we want to head all the way back up to the main village in the north of the zone, but we don't actually want to go into it. The quest giver's just outside. These coloured Chocobos that eat your Garshall Greens while you're riding, you only find them in the optional areas, by the way. So, if you see these coloured Chocobos, you know you're somewhere where you don't need to be to complete the game. I strongly advise you dismount the Chocobo before you speak to the quest giver if you want to hear the dialogue. As I don't, and I didn't realise there'd be so much dialogue, I end up using a lot of Garshall Greens.
No, it's her!
You?
Yes, I am Padre Suyue, servant of the goddess, witness to the timeline. I have committed an unforgivable crime, and now I must pay.
See, there's one of those bloody Garshall Greens wasted.
Many years ago, evil in the form of a merciless beast materialized in the city of Padra. It was no ordinary creature, but one that devoured time instead of prey. In order to free our city of the menace, I had no choice but to banish it into the void beyond. There was peace once again in Padra.
And another.
However,
that's why I really recommend you get off your Chocobo before speaking to this thing.
As it spread, it began to swallow innocent victims, one by one. When they were taken, all that remained were crimson orbs. Orbs that contained their grief and anguish. Each one a silent reproach, reminding me of the terrible mistake that I...
There's another 300 gil down the Swanee.
But look what is happening. The creature cannot be imprisoned for eternity. It is trying to break free to once again feed on time. I cannot banish it now, not like I did all those centuries ago. Travelers of time, listen to me. The terrible beast must be defeated.
Okay, I need to sort this out. So one of the Yules from long ago caused a distortion in time to banish the monster and save the city. But then that caused another distortion.
Right. And that created a paradox, which is what we're facing now. Nina knew what the future was going to bring when she made her choice. She knew she was going to cause pain and suffering for a lot of people. But she also knew that was her only choice. All anguish remains in these wounds in the form of a ruby of grief.
It's awful. No, we have to stop her suffering. Let's show her that she did the right thing. If we defeat the monster, we should be able to set her free.
Oh, so I used about 5 or 6 Garshall Greens then, just because of that bloody dialogue. Anyway, you want to go down to this dead end, first of all, before we go and kill that CF. And when you get down to the bottom, dismount your Chocobo and use your Moogle hunt to reveal the NPC we need for the password.
Who am I? Where am I? Why can't I remember anything? If only I could remember my name.
Thorn is obviously the correct answer.
Yes, that's it. My name is Thorn. I remember everything. I was investigating the ruins with my colleagues, and suddenly I felt someone push me into the paradox, and somehow it absorbed me. I see. She told you my name, did she? I'm relieved to hear that they're still working as hard as ever, even after I'm gone. It's good to know I taught them well. I think I understand the situation. So you're trying to find the password for the control unit in order to resolve the paradox in the ruins, is that it? Well, I'm as good as dead, so the key to solving the paradox is no help to me. Here, take it. I've written down the password. Maybe you can save everyone.
Thanks to my amazing leadership, we finally found the first password, Kubo. If we find the other one, we'll be well on our way to solving the case, Kubo. And when we do, the government will give us oodles of gil and I can buy whatever my little heart desires, Kubo.
Do I need to get my hearing checked? Or did he really say that he was pushed into the paradox?
Does that mean someone tried to kill him?
We should be careful. Come on. We need to go find that other password. I think there might be clues in the ruins in the future.
Yeah, I hope so. Let's go find them.
Helping Thorn gives us a fragment and the first password for our trouble. Now let's go and kill that CF, and you can see the waypoint marker on the map. It's probably not worth collecting a Chocobo for. Start heading to the west. Nope, not that way. And the waypoint is just around here. When you reach it, you'll encounter... Oh, there's another rare mob. Anyway, when you reach it, you'll encounter the CF like a normal enemy encounter, and you can get a preemptive strike on it. As you can see, it's a big-ass dog. At this stage in the game, it shouldn't be too hard at all. I've started off with a Saboteur and a Sentinel just to be on the safe side, but it doesn't seem to be susceptible to debuffs for my Saboteur. I do try a couple of rounds, and the damage it dishes out is quite negligible anyway. So you might just want to start off in Relentless Assault and start building up its chain bonus. You want to get it as high as you can, get it staggered, get the chain bonus high, then switch to the Cerberus X paradigm, which is 3 commandos, and finish it off quickly. If you are a lower level, if you have a lower level party when you attempt this, then you probably would want to keep a Sentinel out to absorb that damage. So otherwise a few potions will pretty much do all the healing you need. And now he's staggered, I'm just going to get his chain bonus up. And he's almost dead already, but I'm going to switch to Cerberus now just to speed the last few moments of the battle up with my new shiny gold Chocobo. And there it is. So there's our next fragment and final fragment for this place.
Thank you.
I hope we did it. I hope we were able to end her suffering.
I'm sure we did.
In an effort to save the people of the city, Yule broke her oath and tampered with time. This caused a disturbance in the timeline, which led to the creation of a paradox. And the death of many innocent people. I have to wonder, did Yule make the right choice? Was there even a right choice to make? If she had done nothing, people would have died. The city that Yule so desperately hoped to save was eventually destroyed. No matter what her decision, either choice would have eventually led to the death of the people of Padra. I don't have the ability to see into the future like she does, and I'm thankful for that. If we knew the outcome of all our actions, wouldn't we just give up? What would be the point of trying? But I can't see what's going to happen. I don't have the power to know what tomorrow may bring, and that's why we can still hope and believe in the future.
Now we can return to the Historia Crux, and we can go hunting for that second password. To do so, we're gonna want to head to the Bresha Ruins 300 AF once more.
In the year 20...
Now, on your arrival, you're going to want to speak to the NPC, since he'll give us access to the device panel, the Atlas control device, and once you've spoken to him, then you can activate it for some more time puzzles.
The whole place is talking about you guys. From what I hear, you're pretty good for a couple of newcomers. Talk to me. I can be convinced into letting you handle the device. Alright, you seem to have at least some knowledge of it. It's not publicly known that it requires passwords to unlock. Okie dokie, go ahead and take a look if you want.
I sense it, Kupo. The password is up ahead, Kupo.
It's hidden in the labyrinth?
That makes sense to me. That explains why we couldn't seem to find it anywhere.
Okay, so these are the puzzles where you have to run across the red tiles, each one disappearing once you've moved on it, collecting all the crystals, and once you have them all you can run to the gate at the end. They're not random, so you can just copy my movements. Just be wary of the moving crystals that jump back and forth. Otherwise, it's fairly simple. There's 3 puzzles in this anomaly in total. That's the first one done, nice and easy. Second one's a little trickier, but I'm sure you'll be fine. There may be other paths that you can do, but these are just the paths I do. So you just have to make your timings careful because the red tiles do disappear once you've stepped on them after a few seconds. So just be careful if you're waiting for a crystal to come back. And the crystal won't come back onto a tile if you're already standing on it, so you need to stand on the one before it if you're waiting. That's the second one, and just this last one, which isn't too hard at all. Grab that one and go all the way round. And up. And down. And wait for that to jump up, and we'll get that now. And then get the last one, and that's it. There we have it. And now we will get the second password. The second of 2.
We finally got our hands on the second password, Kubo. Now all that's left for us to do is return and resolve the paradox, Kubo. I'm going to be rolling, no, swimming in gil, Kubo. But it looks like Noel and Sarah have something on their minds, Kubo. I wonder what's happening, Kubo.
Also happens to be the last fragment for Bresha Ruins 300 AF.
I saw you guys just disappear into thin air. How did you do that? Where did you go?
You don't need to speak to this agent again. You can just return to the Historia Crux. And we're now going to be going back to the 100 AF Bresha Ruins. With both passwords, there's nothing to stop us now getting the 5th fragment.
Who will be the...
Speak to the NPC to get the fragment and hand in the quest.
Passwords? Well, let's try them out and see if they're the real deal. The good news is the passwords were correct, but now we're faced with a new mystery. This paradox. It seems it was created by people. In 20 AF, someone tampered with the control unit, which looks to be the cause of this entire situation. The culprit was responsible for the monster population increase, and for taking out those who knew the passwords. I believe that a group that opposed the Academy's ideals used the paradox for their own gain. They tried to destroy the institution once and for all. To this day, we're still in the dark as to who was behind this operation and why. You two were a great help in solving this tough situation. As a government representative, I'd like to offer you some compensation for your trouble.
Before we move on, we'll want to talk to him again for our next and final side quest for our 6th fragment. And this will involve killing a boss.
What is that thing? Please, go and find out what it is. If it turns out to be a dangerous monster, make sure to destroy it on the spot.
I thought the paradox had been dealt with. So what's this big ugly guy doing here?
He was hiding in the void beyond, Kubo. When the portal was closed, he was trapped in this world, and now there's no way back home, Kubo.
If we don't defeat this monster, then who knows what'll happen to Cocoon? Come on, Noel. Mog, you too.
So if you look on your map, you can see where the waypoint is. It's just over in the outdoor area, outside the tunnels. So we'll start heading out now. And the boss we're going to be fighting isn't too hard at all at this stage in the game. Although if you still have a weaker party, you might want to have to use some tactics, including a sentinel, saboteur, that sort of thing. And once we've got this 6th fragment, we're going to collect some lovely new fragment skills from Serendipity as well, which I'm really excited about. So you don't want to go back into that south tunnel, you just want to carry on around in the outdoor area. You can jump on the Chocobo if you want to make the final stretch a little bit quicker, although there's really no need since it is literally around this corner. I would advise, even if you are a higher level party, to just start off in the premonition paradigm, since that will, I didn't mean to go into Crystarium there, since the premonition paradigm, premeditation it's called, will actually allow you to debuff the enemy with Deprotect, which will make the rest of the battle a breeze. And I am going to have Delta Attack set up just in case, although I'm hoping I won't need it. So the trick to this encounter is to stagger the boss as quickly as possible, because then it will literally drop very quickly. If you can stagger it, you've pretty much won the encounter. Hellstorm Bolt can be a little nasty, so you may want to use your Sentinel to absorb that. It can take a few rounds just to get Deep Protect on the boss, there we go, or maybe even just one round as in this case. Now I'm just going to go to Relentless Assault and start hacking away. As you can see, he builds his chain bonus up nice and quickly. But as I mentioned, if you are a weaker party, you'll definitely want to keep your Sentinel out. Now he's staggered, and I just want to finish him off quickly. Hellstorm Bolt, I'll switch to Delta Attack, but a little bit too late. He doesn't get the boss to Tensor, my Sentinel, so Sarah had to take that damage. Never mind, she didn't die. We killed the boss quickly in 57 seconds, and we'll get our next fragment.
I can't believe a man-made machine could bring forth such a terrible monster. And the paradox, too. That was caused by humans as well, wasn't it?
Monsters don't kill people. People kill people. Does that sound about right?
Truer words were never spoken, Kubo. People are much more scary than monsters, Kubo. We risked our lives to solve the case, Kubo. And how does the government pay us? Not with gil, but bits and bobs and household goods, Kubo. No one needs 10 years worth of toilet paper, Kubo. No one! I had no choice but to decline their offer. The government is evil, Kubo. Humans are evil, Kubo.
and return to the Historia Crux. If you've been following my videos all the way through, you should now find you actually have all the fragments for Bresha Ruins and for Yashas Massif. That's important because that's what you need to collect the next fragment skills and Serendipity. So as you can see, I've got all the fragments for all the Bresha Ruins and Yashas Massif zones. So let's go to Serendipity next for a very quick visit. Very quick but very profitable.
Time and memory.
And then go to the Mystic as before and just speak to her for your new skills.
This must be the goddess's will. Please, let time, the world, escape the nightmare it faces.
So our first fragment skill is the Rolling in CP fragment, which is beautiful since it doubles all the CP you gain from battles. And then we also get the Encounter Master fragment skill, which is also very useful. It allows you to decrease the enemy spawn rate, and more importantly, it actually allows you to increase the enemy spawn rate, which is very useful when you're farming, especially for those Chocobos. So 2 very nice fragment skills there, and they'll both be put to good use. Make sure you turn them on as soon as you get them. And that is the end of this video, and look at that, 137 fragments, only 23 more to go. Next time we will be going to Academia 500 AF, a bit of a nightmare for an area, but we'll have fun together, I'm sure. So thank you very much for joining me. I've been Fuzzfinger, and I'll see you next time.